Okay, sorry for the little delay, Aquarius. So this is your love and relationships reading for April 2017. Just a few more seconds. These cards always get a little skittish. That was Justice. And that was also the Two of Cups earlier that tried to sneak out of here. Okay, so let's get started. I have the World in reverse. This is the Fool. This is Eight of Cups. And swords are representing air, which is your element. I have a Nine of Wands reversed. Interesting, this showed up in the same position for another sign. I have the High Priestess, which has also been showing up a lot for some of you. I have the Lovers. This is Justice. Oh, so it did come out. I have Six of Pentacles. And this is Page of Wands reversed. All right, so outcome card will come a little bit later after the main reading. Well, there are no swords at all, except for this Justice card, which is about having balance, fairness, and you also seem to have a significant number. You have like 5 major arcana cards here, which is definitely indicating some big changes in your life. For instance, you have the World in reverse, which is about almost finishing a journey, but you're not quite ready to turn the page for that new chapter. And yet, I have this Fool, which is about new chapters and taking risks and moving forward. Okay, and having faith. And then it's followed by this Eight of Cups. So this is interesting. Maybe the World is your energy, and then you have this conflict with the Fool, which is about moving forward. Maybe this is what the other person is doing, because I definitely get this Eight of Cups, which tells me, well, why do we get the Fool after the World? And the Eight of Cups is saying, well, emotionally, someone needs to get some space to figure things out. Even though they might not want to leave the relationship, it's something they have to do. So the World sort of confronts the Fool. Then we have your High Priestess in the middle here. And the High Priestess is always about being centered and using your intuition and not letting your subconscious fears and feelings take over. To sort of pull it together and see things and trust your gut instincts and see things with clarity and insight. Okay, and maybe that's what some of you, because Aquarius, you guys are definitely about thinking things through, and also being a little bit mysterious. You're not showing all your cards. Aquarius people are very difficult sometimes to relate to, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. You prefer to be very private and mysterious, and you don't put everything out there, but at the same time, you do have this strong energy to connect. You're very intellectual about love. So, you have the World in reverse, and then the Fool, then the High Priestess, and then you have the Lover's card. And the Lover's card is about the connection between two forces, man and woman, head and heart. And that can be a very wonderful energy, making a connection. So the fact that this follows the High Priestess is a good sign for you, because most air signs are very idealistic about love. They have very strong feelings about honesty and trust and that ideal relationship. Sometimes having high expectations for relationships, or seeing relationships or love in an idealistic way, it's a little bit detached from reality. And so, sometimes when we're too idealistic about love, it can lead to a little detachment from reality. And sometimes, Aquarius, we need to get out of our heads and be a little bit realistic about what we can expect, or definitely releasing our expectations. So this last major arcana card with the Justice, this is all about fairness and things being right and equality. And that's interesting because it's followed by the Six of Pentacles, which is about being generous, balance between give and take, someone devoting their gifts and their time and their resources, to the relationship. And I'll get to that Page of Wands when I get to the future. So very, very interesting. So how I am seeing the past here, it's a matter of someone letting go. You're not ready to close the chapter on a relationship, or maybe there's an obstacle between you and another person where if this obstacle was just moved out of the way, then we can move forward together. But it seems as if the world, that maybe the other person still is trying to get past some obstacles in their own life. And in order to do that, they still have to go on this journey with the Fool. This Eight of Cups, it's just walking away for the good, for the higher purpose, for the bigger picture. Someone's not necessarily walking away for selfish reasons, but you can see that you've got this moon and stars in the background. The moon is always about the subconscious and the emotional, and the stars are always about hope. And so there's a need to move forward. There's a need to move on in your life, but keep in mind, this would be more in sync if the world was upright, because the world is always about closing a chapter in your life and moving on, finishing a journey. And maybe there's someone in this situation who's moving on a little bit too early, or someone who's not emotionally closing, wrapping things up, putting closure on things before they are able to move forward. And that actually could cause some problems later on with this Page of Wands, because you can't really have a beginning if you haven't closed out things in the past and truly let go. And so, I'm trying to figure out this little conflict where the world is all about closure and successfully completing this psychic journey. And then all of a sudden we have the Fool. We have this person taking off and I want to go. I just want to break away for a little bit. And it could be for a valid reason, that whatever's happening in this world with a previous relationship, previous issues, a divorce, they still need to put closure on that. They need to backtrack and address the issues that are going on with the world in reverse. So that's what I'm seeing here in the past. When we get to the present, this Nine of Wands. This is a card about facing those obstacles. It's about confronting the things that are going on. And some of you, Aquarius, might know someone who's a fire sign, because when this is in reverse, it's about not learning lessons from the past. It's avoiding the problems and the conflicts that need to be faced. And I get a sense that maybe this person is running away from putting closure on things to finally address all the things that are getting in the way of you and this person having a true connection or relationship. When I get to this High Priestess in Lovers, as I've said before, this is a wonderful energy. This person might still want to be with you. For some of you, there's still that strong connection. When you get the spirituality and the intuition of the High Priestess with the spirituality and union of the Lovers, this is about a coming together, a true unity, a true coming together. And some of you might be going through these feelings like you feel like this person is your soulmate. Okay? But this other person seems to be running away. You know, they're not necessarily, they're not going through this experience with the same trust, and they're drawn to this energy, but it's sort of like they're not putting their full effort in. They're not committing 100%. And that tends to happen. It seems to be a theme a lot in some of these relationships where things are a little bit out of sync, and we're trying to figure out, well, why isn't this person in sync with me? When will this finally work out? What is it that this other person is going through? So for you people who are Aquarius, there are certain issues in relationships where the other person needs to face up to confronting some difficulties or obstacles from a previous issue or situation, maybe with someone else. Maybe it has a lot to do with their other jobs, financial obligations. When I get to this Justice card in your future, keep in mind the Justice card could actually represent an actual legal issue. And I know for some of you, there could be an issue with a court case or a divorce or something like that. But it's also about, for you Aquarius, the fairness and equality, things being balanced. The sword always represents the thinking, the logic, the clarity, being able to have insight. So, and I think this is more important for you than anything else, okay? Even though the Justice card tends to be associated with another air sign, which is Libra, it still is the air sign, the fact that there's this sword here, it's still very relevant to you. And I think honesty and clarity are very important for you. You need to know exactly where things stand. Okay, but you also need to have trust, and I think that's also very important for a lot of you Aquarius, especially seeing that, as I said before, air signs tend to be a little bit intellectual about relationships and idealistic. So you want everything to be on an even keel, which is where the Six of Pentacles starts to come in, because it's known as the generosity card, and it's someone being able to give, okay? And it's not always, sometimes pentacles represent coins and they can represent money, but it's also about someone in the material world offering their support, being there with you. It's about prosperity and sharing and giving and compromising, which I think is what you value more than most signs in certain situations. So then we get a little stuck here. The Page of Wands, and I'm looking at this Nine of Wands in reverse, and then this Fool who has the wand. So what's going on with this other person? When we have a Page of Wands here, we're talking about beginnings, because these are young children, being very young, still starting in a particular situation. And I strongly feel that the reason this card is reversed, it's because this person, with all this Wands energy and intent, sort of ran away too early from a situation. That perhaps they still can't get to that new beginning with you because, once again, those obstacles. When this is in reverse, it can also mean getting a little bit of bad news, okay? It can also be about misunderstandings and having a lack of trust in the relationship. And I see this as a small issue. I don't see it necessarily as a big issue. I think it's about how you decide that, how patient am I going to be with this person? How trusting am I going to be with this person? Because maybe the fact that this person keeps running away, or the fact that this person can't make a decision and stick with it, I think that might bother some of you a little bit. Okay? So let me shuffle for an outcome card. Whoa, what came out? Oh my goodness. Who had a Page of Cups? Oh, it was Sagittarius, I think, or Capricorn. Someone had a Page of Cups as an outcome, and this came out in the outcome as well. And this is once again having joy, the joy of a child, so to speak. It's about renewal and renewed hope and renewed joy with love. And that's always a good beginning. And it can also mean that this person, whatever emotional blocks, because you did have a Page of Wands reversed, but then you have this Page of Cups here, which is about getting rid of the emotional blockages, being able to be trusting like a child and not let the past hold you back. And I think that's a very good sign. I think that for some of you, it may be your reset. Sometimes for you Aquarians, there might be a delay. There might be a misunderstanding. But then the tarot seems to be saying that embrace new beginnings emotionally. Don't hold on to that mistrust. Don't hold on to grudges. Be hopeful, be positive, okay? Because that can certainly happen when we have setbacks with another person. We tend to be cynical, we tend to be mistrusting, we tend to let those things get in our heads and shut us off. And this doesn't necessarily mean that this other person is going to be 100% committed, but it does mean that there will be an emotional breakthrough that might come along a little bit later. Okay, you just have to be a little bit patient. There might actually be some setbacks. Once, you two are still connected, maybe you're still working things out, and then you get this minor setback, some bad news. But I think that this is still not going to get in the way of eventually having that shift emotionally in the relationship. And I feel like this applies to the other person, to where you two are able to move forward a little bit. Okay, but not just about the other person. I think also it's more of a little bit of joy and happiness instead of this apprehension you might feel. And that can certainly happen with some of you who are Aquarius, that you tend to be more cautious and tentative, and you're not sure if you should follow through and give this person a chance. This person might have been unreliable, and maybe they were a little sketchy with their communication. So when you get this Page of Cups in the outcome, it's about just embracing where you are emotionally and opening up a little bit. And maybe after this person goes through this journey, this Page of Cups is sort of saying that they're going to be able to figure things out. They're going to be able to get past the blockages. But keep in mind, all of you people who are Aquarians and looking at this reading, this journey might mean something different. Not necessarily that you and this person will both fall in love, but it might mean some of you who are going through setbacks in relationships, with all this High Priestess here and this Lover's card here, but yet you still have the World in reverse dangling over the entire situation, and then issues about justice and fairness, and then you get this bad news. I think that even though there's a little bit of bad news about the relationship, a new door could possibly open for some of you, and you're going to be able to have hope again about your relationships. So even if there is someone who walks away, things didn't turn out the way you would hope, the tarot is still saying that emotionally you'll have a reason to be happy again and a reason to move forward and take care of some of the unfinished business that showed up here with the World in reverse. So that was your reading, and my usual spiel. Thank you to everyone, and I'm always grateful every single month of all the wonderful people that I've read for and all the wonderful comments you've made. And I'm always especially happy when someone says, oh yes, everything you said is dead on, and this is exactly what's happening. So I'm so happy to hear that. And a small announcement, I'm also working on scheduling time for phone readings where you don't have to wait 12 or 8 hours. A lot of you have requested that I have more availability. And I've been working on that, thinking about I do teach for a living. This is sort of like my little hobby. But I am going to be working on just being available by phone a little bit more for those of you who like phone readings instead of video readings. So keep an eye out for that in the next couple of weeks. So now, other than that, I hope a lot of you are enjoying your spring. Always stay positive. Always stay optimistic. Okay? Trust the universe. Everything will work out, no matter what your situation is. I hope I get to read for some of you. So I hope also some of you had a wonderful birthday last month. Last month was February, so I know a lot of you Aquarians were having your birthday through the month of February. I don't think I was able to wish you a happy birthday. So I do hope you enjoyed your new solar year and made the most of it. Having said that, take care, and I'll definitely see you next month. And once again, keep an eye out for new announcements about the phone readings. Take care.